Howdy mates, good noontime. How are we all doing? Here's the second video today. We're over at the Amberjack Environmental Park near the town of Placida, Florida. So we're not too far from Boca Grande, which is where we were yesterday. But Amberjack is another park associated with Charlotte County. So Amberjack is actually slightly closer to the Gulf, so you can see that our sand is much brighter. Well, think of it this way. Each habitat goes through a particular process that we typically call succession, which really describes how a habitat changes over time in terms of growth. So you figure since we are slightly closer to the Gulf, we have a chance to see a little bit of something called a scrub habitat or scrub hammock, because as you can see, plants to my left and even some of these guys, they call these sand live oaks. So they are a type of oak tree found down here in the state of Florida. And they're well known to also contain an epiphyte, also known as an air plant, called Spanish moss. And what's fascinating about most epiphytes, as you might be thinking, does it really cause any harm to the tree? No, not necessarily. See, the air plants, or in this case the Spanish moss, they are just using the tree as a means of getting more sunlight or water. However, the Spanish moss is not relying on the tree for food. So it does not act as like a parasite that doesn't cause any harm to the tree. But these sand live oaks, they're well known for hosting a particular type of bird called the Florida scrub jay, which is actually marked as an endangered bird in the state of Florida, because you can technically only find them down here. But they like to use the sand live oaks as a nursery. So you can find nests up in these trees sometimes if you're lucky enough. But the Florida scrub jay looks a bit similar to the famous blue jay. I mean, in a sense, they are somewhat related. But I think the main difference is the Florida scrub jay is a bit smaller, and it also has a bit of a lighter blue color than the blue jay. And it's just fascinating because the color blue really does not happen too often in nature. Another bird I actually saw a little bit ago, I wish I was able to do a video on it, but I wasn't. By the time I was starting on it, it already flew away. It's called the northern mockingbird. And for those of you who live in this area, you probably have heard them quite frequently. They might do repetitive songs and are able to imitate other birds. But they typically like to stand on some of these dead trees. Like there's one right up here in the distance. And they always like to jump too. But they are typically a bit of grayish white color. Yeah. This is essentially a scrub hammock, because it's also dominated by, as you can see, saw palmetto. And sometimes, if you're lucky enough with saw palmetto, you might be able to find some berries. And as a matter of fact, the berries of saw palmetto are indeed edible. You can eat them. But yeah, they are a protected species in the state of Florida, these guys. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes if you're lucky, you might find some berries, but most likely we might not find them at the moment because wildlife likes to go after them. They're highly sought after. But yeah, this is a scrub hammock, so this is a bit different than a mesic pine flatwood. I mean, you still see some pines, but we're mostly looking at a scrub hammock. We're basically, the oaks haven't really dominated yet. So alrighty. Hey, I thought I would share that with you guys. Hope you got something out of it. But yeah, this is, these types of habitats, this is what was dominant in the state of Florida prior to further development. And these are usually favored because the ground, even with it being a little bit of sand, it's still very firm. So it's solid, more or less. So alright mates, hope you all enjoy your Friday, and Journey on a Journey is outwards. Take care folks.